Hello class, so today we are going to be learning about the scientific method, and the scientific method is a process of acquiring knowledge in science, and this is a method that we are going to be using in our science class from now on to complete projects and experiments that we're going to be doing in class. So I created a foldable today to kind of help you guys, and we're all going to be creating this foldable today to kind of remember what the scientific method is, what the steps are, and how you can use it in the future. So going to the first picture, when you open up this foldable that I made, you will be writing these steps in your own foldable, and they go over the 7 steps of the scientific method. So if I'm just going to zoom in a little bit more on the steps themselves so that we can go over them together. So the first step of the scientific method is problem/question. And in this step, you're going to be developing a question or a problem that can be solved through experimentation. So this is where you're going to kind of come up with a question about what we're going to be doing for the day. That's going to help you get through through the experiment that we're doing. The next step is observation/research, and this is where you're going to make an observation and research your topic of interest. So this is where you're going to go on the computers and or read a book, and you're going to find some stuff out about what we're going to be doing that day. So maybe reading a book or looking up online what that experiment is. The next step is formulating a hypothesis, and in this step you're going to be predicting the possible answer to the problem or question that you came up with in the first step. So in that first step you came up with a question, and in this step you're going to be trying to predict or trying to make an observation about what that question's answer is going to be after the experiment. So you're going to come up with, is it going to do this, is it going to do that, and try to figure it out for yourself before we've even done the experiment. The next step is experiment, and that is where you guys are going to be developing and following a procedure, including a detailed materials list, the outcome must be measurable, so quantifiable. So when we do this experiment, we should be able to have an answer to that first question that you initially came up with. And that's when that kind of plays into the next step, which is collecting and analyzing the results. So in this step, you're going to be modifying the procedure if needed, confirming the results by retesting, and you're going to include tables, graphs, and photographs. So it doesn't necessarily need to be all 3 of these things, but we will be having to duplicate. So that means having to get the same result that we got in that experiment multiple times to make sure that it's correct and it's not just something that happened one time. So that brings us to the conclusion, in which you are going to include a statement that accepts or rejects. So that means that it's going to say if your hypothesis was correct or not. So you're going to make recommendations for further study and possible improvements to the procedure. So that means if you were to do this experiment again, what would you change? What would you do differently to make sure that it comes out better? And the last step is communicate the results. So in this step, you're going to be prepared to present the project to an audience. So expect questions from the audience. So when we do this ourselves in the classroom, this might include, talking to your table group and telling them what were the results that you got when you did this experiment? What were the conclusions you got? And was your hypothesis correct when you asked that question and you made a guess of if it was going to be right or wrong, or what the answer was going to be? Did the experiment say that was correct or not? And you would be sharing this with your classroom and answering any questions that the class has about how you did this. But yeah, this is the scientific method, and I'm excited to make this foldable with you guys in class.